All right, so let's jump right into this. We're heading to a place called the Sleeping Well, this ruined city where everything's kind of crumbling. And it's here, in the middle of all this decay, that a prince who is just on fire with ambition runs into a soothsayer who has a very different way of looking at things. And this isn't just a story, it's a total clash of ideas. It's a parable about what that burning desire for power really costs you.
And boom, there's our prince. This one line, it tells you everything you need to know about him. This isn't just about wanting to be in charge. No, this is a belief that he can literally bend the world to his will, that he can take all the chaos of life and forge it into something permanent. I mean, it's basically a declaration of war on time itself.
So where is he getting these big ideas? From this iron book he's clutching. And his hero, his ideal ruler, is this Machiavellian philosopher king. And think about that for a second. This isn't some brute in a crown. The idea is to be both as cunning as a fox and as strong as a lion. The prince is convinced that this 1-2 punch is the perfect formula for building an empire that lasts.
Okay, but what's really driving this guy? What's the engine under the hood? The story calls it the will to power, and that's a perfect name for it. Think of it like a kind of philosophical fever, this constant, burning need to build, to conquer, to organize, and just leave your mark. For the prince, this isn't a hobby. It's the whole point of being alive.
So how's he going to do it? What's the game plan? Well, it's all about Virtu. Now, in Machiavellian terms, this is basically the ultimate leader's toolkit. It's a mix of skill, raw strength, and some pretty ruthless cunning. It's everything you'd need to grab fate, what they called fortuna, and bend it to your will. This is his entire playbook right here.
But, every fire eventually meets water. And here he is, entered the soothsayer. This guy is, he's not impressed by all the prince's fiery ambition. His wisdom is something else entirely. It's slow, it's ancient, and it's kind of chilling, like a cold tide just pulling everything back out to sea.
And this slide, man, this just nails their whole conflict perfectly. The soothsayer hears the prince's grand dream of building this monument of lasting order, and he just cuts right through it. He says, all you're really building is a beautifully arranged graveyard. Ouch. That's gotta sting. This is the first real crack in the prince's whole worldview. Then the soothsayer drops this absolute bombshell. A total paradox. He tells the prince that this whole quest to become the ultimate master has actually turned him into the ultimate servant. Wait, what? How can the most powerful person in the world also be the biggest slave? Well, here's how. The soothsayer breaks it down. For every single time a ruler says, I will, and gives a command, he's actually just responding to 1,000 different pressures telling him, you shall. Every decision, to build a wall, to fight a war, whatever, it's not an act of pure freedom, it's a reaction. The ruler isn't really acting, he's enslaved to the never-ending needs of his kingdom. And this is the soothsayer's checkmate move, philosophically speaking. He takes the prince's core belief, the will to power, and he gives it a new name. He calls it the will to distraction. He argues it's not really a quest for greatness at all. It's just a desperate, frantic run from the silence, a way to avoid the crushing boredom and the chaos that's waiting inside you when all the enemies are gone.
The soothsayer even describes this journey as a kind of metamorphoses in reverse. You're not evolving upwards, you're just collapsing. He says you start out as the lion, right? Destroying all the old rules, shouting no. But then that freedom you won, it just becomes another cage. And in the end, you're just the broken camel, finally collapsing under nothing but the sheer weight of your own exhaustion.
He's essentially holding up a mirror to the prince's face. He says, you think you're some revolutionary new man? Nah, you're just the same old weariness we've seen for centuries, just wearing a different outfit. In your grand state, it's nothing but a grim machine that runs on the blood of its people, all to turn the gears of a clock that's just ticking down to the end. Pretty bleak, huh? And here's the final diagnosis, the kill shot. He takes the prince's heroes, the clever fox, the mighty lion, and just dismantles them. He reveals their big secret. It doesn't matter what your strategy is. Cunning, strength, it's all the same. They both end up exhausted. They aren't defeated by some greater enemy. They're defeated by the simple, grinding effort of just existing.
Which all boils down to this one ultimate question. And it's a question aimed right at the heart of any ambition. Why bother? Why play this complicated game of power and strategy? Why spend your life planning every move when every single path you could possibly take, no matter how brilliant, leads to the exact same place? Stillness. Silence. And right here, this is the moment it all clicks. It's not just a philosophical debate anymore. It becomes physical. The prince looks down at his own hands calloused from a lifetime of gripping his will like a weapon. And for the first time, he doesn't just hear the soothsayer's words, he feels them. He feels this bone-deep weariness like he's been fighting for 100 years.
So what does he do? This is the climax of the whole story. He just lets the iron book fall from his hands. A simple gesture, but it means everything. The story calls it the Great Refusal. He's not just dropping a book, he's letting go of his ambition, his identity, the whole crushing weight of his will to power.
And that leads us to this final, powerful redefinition. The soothsayer gives us a whole new meaning for virtue. He says true strength, real virtue, isn't about the skill to conquer the world. It's having the profound, maybe even terrifying courage to just be finished, to let go, to accept that the striving is over.
And in that moment of surrender, the prince finds something he was never even looking for. Not victory, not a lasting monument, but a heavy, holy peace. It's the kind of quiet that can only come when there are no more battles to plan, no more people to control, nothing left to rule. A final, absolute stillness. And it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Was the soothsayer's path one of defeat, or was it the only true way to find peace?